you guys, welcome back to K&K's Inspired Creations with Latara. So today I'm going to show you guys how I made a New Orleans inspired honey punch, a really cute little bee themed pudding, of course mug toppers, which is definitely my signature staple, and lastly a bee themed parfait.
Honey punch using some epoxy resin. So if you've ever used epoxy resin, you know that depending on the type that you have, you might have to mix it half and half, or sometimes 2-to-1 ratio. The one that I have here is a half and half, and I'm actually doing 2 projects at the same time, so that's why you can probably see me making twice as much than I'll actually need for this particular project. And I am making a honey punch. It's like a New Orleans kind of thing. You could probably look it up. And as always, I do want to thank you so much for watching my videos. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. And yeah, thank you so much. So the next thing I'm going to do is start adding a little bit of food coloring. I start off with the yellow and mix it up really well. I'm not going to show it on camera, but I did end up adding a couple more colors to get this more honeyer looking color, and then I ended up mixing up some more to add a little bit more red, because the top part of the honey punch is like a reddish color. I'm going to be making a bee themed pudding, or like a honey pudding. So I started off by using some silicone caulk that you can get from Lowe's or Home Depot, and then I ended up adding some red and yellow paint to get the color that I wanted. And now I'm just adding it to a piping bag just so that I can pipe it into the glass without it, getting on the sides of it. And as always, I want to take a moment to thank you so much for checking out my video. You can be watching anybody else's video, but you chose to watch mine, and I'm very, very appreciative. If you haven't liked or subscribed yet, please subscribe. I'd really appreciate it. I'm in the process of growing my channel. Not sure if you can tell, but I am struggling a little bit. When you put a lot of paint and silicone caulk, it makes it tougher, or whatever you want to call it. So I had to use some alcohol to try to smooth it out, and it definitely worked out really good, which I guess is okay because it's supposed to be honey jelly for the honey pudding. Now I'm going to use lightweight spackle for the honey pudding portion, and I'm going to put this in a piping bag as well with a piping tip, and then just kind of swirl it around inside of the glass. And lastly, I ended up using some yellow hot glue that looked like honey to make like this honeycomb decoration that I'm going to put on top. It's supposed to be equivalent to like white chocolate in a way, but I did mine more yellow. And I ended up mixing some black paint with the air dry clay to make like a black whipped cream. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but I thought it was cool. So now I'm making the drip, and I end up using Mod Podge and then some yellow food coloring and like a teeny tiny amount of red food coloring to get this color. And so I felt like it needed a little something, so I ended up making a bow from some bee themed ribbon that I ended up finding at Dollar Tree this year.
Some bee themed mug toppers, and I'm basically starting off making my whipped cream or my whipped topping. So I'm using lightweight spackle, adding a little bit of yellow, a little bit of red, just to get this honey-ish kind of color that I really like. And as you can see, I'm actually using one of the tubs for the lightweight spackle to mix it in because it's such a large amount that I'm using right now. So I'm using a, pre-used piping bag to add some of that spackle, color spackle to, so that I can pipe it onto my mug toppers. And I always like to have some type of cup there because it makes it so much easier to get inside the cup. And so now basically I'm going to just kind of push it down so that I'm able to get my hands around the ending of it. Now I'm going to do the same thing with black. So the black is a lot harder to make because it's a lot richer of a color. So I'm going to end up having to add a ton of paint, which makes spackle really, really like soft, which is not what you want when you're making mug toppers. So I'm gonna have to add some flour to it just to thicken it back up. And then once it gets more, thick again, then I can add more paint to it to try to get the black color that I want. I've been able to do it with black. I have not really been able to really do it with red yet, but I've been working on it. Red is definitely a hard color to make. And of course, I'm doing the same thing. I am transferring the black spackle or the black icing into a piping bag so that when it's time to pipe, I can just grab each one and I don't have to start making it again. And as always, I always like to take a moment just to thank you so much for watching my video. You can be watching anybody else's video on YouTube, but you're here watching my video and I'm so appreciative of it. If you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe to my channel. I make tons of really cute decor items and fake bakes if you like that kind of thing. Here I'm using hot glue again to make like a honeycomb candy piece to put on top of my mugs or on top of my mug topper as like a piece of decoration. One thing I do like to do is just trace out the circumference, diameter, whatever you would call it, of the mug, and then use like a foam round to dummy up the bottom so that I can make the mug topper tall without it, collapsing on itself. And so that's what I was doing right there. So now I'm going to start piping the first mug topper. And piping and making mug toppers is actually not the hardest thing in the world. It's very satisfying and really cool. So if you haven't tried it before, you should definitely try it. This is probably one of my last projects that is bee themed for this year. And I love decorating for using the bee theme because there's so much variety. The colors, that black, white, and yellowish color for the honey, it's just everything. It's just so pretty. I've had so much fun with this bee theme for the spring decor items that I have. The next one's going to be lemon, so I'm working on making a whole bunch of lemon stuff, but the bee theme is probably one of my favorites. I'm probably going to do it again next year and make some new cool stuff. So I ended up adding a whole bunch of sprinkles. Right now I'm just cutting up that hot glue candy honeycomb piece that I was telling you about and putting it on the mug topper. Now on to the next one. So I did the same thing. I'm gonna start off with white spackle this time. And I think between the two of them, I want to say this one is probably my favorite. I love when I'm able to put like some type of drip on my projects. And the way I make my drip is I just take a little bit of Mod Podge, some food coloring. This one I use orange. I think I use a little bit, like a drop of brown paint, and then like a little tiny bit of red food coloring to get the color that I like from my drip, my honey drip. And then of course I added my signature straw. I added a little bit of sprinkles and glitter, and I added those candy pieces, the honeycomb candy pieces as well. And of course I put a couple of bees on there because of course it's bee themed. Bee themed honey parfait. So of course I started off with my lightweight spackle, added a little bit of red, a little bit of yellow, just to get that honey color that I like. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put that into a piping bag so that I can use it a little bit later. And I believe I mentioned this before, that I do like to keep a cup handy so that it makes it easier to get the spackle inside of the piping bag. A little trick that I came across while watching other creators. And so now I'm going to do the exact same thing, but with the black. So I ended up adding a whole bunch of black to white spackle. And the thing about black is that the more paint that you add to spackle, the softer the spackle is, and it won't hold its shape when you pipe it. So you have to add something to it. I usually add flour to it, but I think you can do like baby powder or even cornstarch to get the same effect. But you just want to make sure that you add enough so that it makes it to where you still have that same like structure that you would have wanted before. And so now I'm doing the same thing, just adding it to a piping bag so that I can have it when it's time to pipe. And as always, I just want to take a second to just thank you so much for watching my video. You can be watching anybody else's video, but you're here watching mine. I'm so appreciative of it. I am trying to grow my channel, so if you haven't subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe. I do a lot of DIYs and fake bakes, and I think you would like it. And so now I'm ready to pipe. I'm just cleaning these glasses. I'm cleaning these glasses because I got them from Goodwill. So, you know. So I basically just started off with the black, and I'm going to alternate until I get to the very top. At this point, I think I remember that I did want to put like a white whipped cream on top, but my little bag doesn't have that much in it, so I need to add more white spackle to my bag so that I can pipe some really cute whipped cream on top. And so that's all I'm doing, just putting a bag that I used before into the cup to make it easier to get it in there, and then just add some of that just white spackle. I like using the DAP lightweight spackle because the color is already perfect and it hasn't turned colors on me yet, so I'm gonna just keep doing it that way. I don't add any white color to it. And so now I'm just looking for the straw that I would like to use. I think I ended up going with polka dots and like alternating black and white, or whatever you would call it. And I put them both into them, which was really cute actually. And then I decided to add in my honeycomb hot glue candy looking piece. And then also I wanted to add some glitter. I wanted to add some sprinkles. Before doing all that, of course I have to do my drip. So of course I start with a little bit of Mod Podge, and then I add in some yellow food coloring, stir it up real good. I usually add in some brown. It's not paint, I can't remember what it is. And then after that I add in a teeny tiny bit of red food coloring, because if I put too much red food coloring in there, even one full drop, it just changes the color of the drip and it makes it way too red. So just a very small amount to change the color just a little bit, and then just add it to the top. So cute. I love adding drips to my projects. It's just one of the funnest things. And so now that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to add some of my sprinkles. I want to say I was just doing probably yellow all over it, since the spackle is white and I didn't really have any black sprinkles. And then I do have some black sprinkles, but they're just like little tiny circles like those. They're not really like sprinkles when you think of sprinkles. And then of course I added a bead or two to each one of the parfaits. And then I'm going to finish it off with some glitter, and that's pretty much it. And it came out so pretty. I love these so much. They are so gorgeous. And so here is the final reveal. I love each and every one of these. They're very different, very creative. So definitely made my bee themed tablescape look awesome. Let me know in the comments which one is your absolute favorite treat or drink. And definitely don't forget to like, subscribe if you're not already following me. Don't forget to hit that notification bell. And as always, keep it sweet and keep it creative.